I love Kung Fu Hustle. It's a movie I categorise under perfect movies to watch when hungover or when you have the flu. The silly comedy lifts your spirits because it's so absurdly silly you think you're actually hallucinating it. But also the story's easy to absorb, meaning in your half-conscious state you can keep up with what's happening. This is also helped by having characters who are just deep enough for you to care about. But yeah, it's definitely not a thinking movie, which as I say is a perfect thing to watch when you're dosed up on cough medicine. Just like me right now, I have the flu. The last few weeks have been rough, man, and I've been looking for a movie to pick me up. But when I was about to play the movie, it got me thinking, should I extend my library and look for other options? So I hunted round for movies that are similar to Kung Fu Hustle, and that's when I discovered Kung Pow. A movie that's so goddamn funny at times, it was giving me mild headaches.
He's an outsider. Have you ever seen him before?
Well, twice.
Seeing as these two movies are quite similar, being kung fu comedies with a cult status, I thought it would be a fun idea to square the two movies up against each other. Now when it comes to Kung Pow, the story takes a far away back seat, allowing the movie to focus on the comedy, and only the comedy. So really I don't have much choice but to spoil what little story there is. But when it comes to Kung Fu Hustle, there is quite a few twists thrown in, and these are mostly unexpected. So to spoil these would ruin your experience, seeing as how Kung Fu Hustle is not only a good comedy, but it's also a decent story. So I'm going to make these two movies compete by winning points, with rules that are arbitrary and not very professional. But that's okay, because I'm sick. Oh yeah, and points will be deducted if I find anything to complain about. Okay, contestant 1, Kung Pow, enter the fist. It's the satirically simple and almost cliche story of a man seeking revenge for the murder of his parents when he was just a baby. He is the chosen one, and he's literally called the chosen one. When the movie opened with Baby Chosen One beating up a room full of henchmen, I was unsure if I was going to find this more ridiculous than I found it funny. But then when the baby escapes and starts rolling down this hill, I lost my mind. That's 10 points. The funnier something is, or the more entertaining something is, determines how many points it will get, with 10 being the max, indicating that I almost died laughing. Before long, the movie gets to this part, which was the only clip I'd ever seen of this movie beforehand. When I saw this for the first time, I think I remember finding the dramatic zooms funny, but also thinking, nah, this isn't the pinnacle of comedy right here. And that's probably why I didn't check it out until today. But credit given where credit is due. This whole fight did get a slight chuckle from me. Even the gopher chucks bit.
I need gopher chucks.
It feels like a low XD so random joke from school in the 2000s. It was still good. This scene scores the movie another 6 points. One of Kung Po's best qualities is the voice dubbing. Every character but one was dubbed over by writer and director Steve Odekirk. Here are some hilarious examples.
I see the way you look at him. I'm a man too, you know. I go pee-pee standing up.
I invite you to train with us until you find the whereabouts of Master Pain.
I'll do it.
In your dreams!
Even the cliche joke of the Asian actor's mouth mouthing more words than the translation has is still really funny here.
Hey, who's he?
I don't know.
But then to top it off, the thing that almost made me cough out my own lungs with laughter was when they did this for the dog.
Well, at least I have you, boy.
That gets you 10 points, movie. However, this dubbed gimmick lasts for the entire movie, and towards the end I was getting a bit bored of it. If this was a short film rather than a feature length, I would have had no issue with it. But you're essentially listening to one guy's voice the entire time. It's a funny voice, granted.
I rock and roll all day long, sweet Susie.
but there's only so many variations of the same voice you can listen to before you get tired of it. So I'm going to have to deduct 1 point for this reason. About halfway through the movie, when the Chosen One goes to fight the bad guy, a CGI cow initiates a fight with him. What is this? I just feel so detached from reality right now. And I don't know if what I'm seeing is comedy genius or possibly the worst thing I've ever seen on screen. You're going to get 10 points for working out the mechanics of how you'd make a CGI cow fight a human being, and then I'm deducting 5 of those points for actually putting it on screen. The Chosen One's love interest is given this iconic whingy cry. Those of you familiar with the channel Your Movie Sucks will know Adam used this sound clip on some of his older videos.
She gets her laptop back for all but 2 seconds and Randy's already plastered her profile with hateful things.
I love this guy's channel. You should go check him out. He's a professional, unlike me. 5 points for the iconic whinge. The end fight with the bad man isn't that great in my opinion. It would have been nice to see the movie switch it up a bit and do something a bit different for this fight. Maybe he could have done some kind of kaiju parody or something, just like they did in Crank 2, where out of nowhere Jason Statham and the Asian guy become giant monsters and fight each other. This kind of genre flip moment would have fit perfectly in Kung Pow. So this end fight is a minor bugbear for me, but keep in mind at this point I was growing weary of his voice. Just the 1 point deducted. But then the movie scores some last minute points with this squirrel gag.
Your soft, cushy body helped absorb the force of his blow. Now for my part of the bargain.
That's just incredible. 10 points. So this gives Kung Pow Enter the Fist a total of 44 points. Alright then, Kung Fu Hustle, let's see what you got. Here's what a spoiler-free synopsis for Kung Fu Hustle looks like. A poverty-stricken ghetto is under attack from a notorious gang called the Axe Gang. Up until now, the Axe Gang had ignored this district, seeing it as too valueless to control. But then this wannabe gangster stirs up trouble, initiating a conflict between the Axe Gang and the business owners who reside here, all of whom turn out to be Kung Fu masters. Throughout the rest of this film, the Axe Gang hire professional killers to try and get rid of these masters, feeling threatened by the sudden reveal of their power. So there we have it, and man, it's going to be really hard trying to score points on this movie and not spoil anything more, but I'll give it a shot. First points awarded for the Pigsty Alley movie set. The writer and director Stephen Chow grew up in a poverty-stricken town just like this, so this is why Pigsty Alley looks and feels like a real place for the audience to be immersed in. In the grossest possible way, it's great to look at, and the hilarious characters that reside here complete this experience. Most notably the bitch landlady, who's always smoking and yelling at people for not paying rent.
笑咩啊？笑就唔使交租咧，屎忽鬼！抵得你咁靚仔啊嗱！
Easy 10 points. The wannabe gangster I mentioned earlier, played by Stephen Chow himself, has a pretty funny introduction to his character's pathetic nature too. He tries blackmailing the barber to get a free haircut, and when the townspeople turn on him, he tries to pick a fight with anyone he thinks he can beat.
揸波鬆我啊，嬸，出嚟！我讓你一拳都仲得啦，打我啊！靚仔，我忍你好耐㗎啦，出嚟啊！啊，得啦，叻啦！
I rate this joke about 6 points. Now it must be said that even though Kung Fu Hustle is funny, it didn't get my flu-riddled chest hurting quite like Kung Pow did.
I'll do it.
In your dreams!
So I'm going to try and balance out this competition by awarding points more towards the movie story as we go along. The funniest scene in Kung Fu Hustle for me is watching the wannabe gangsters trying to take out the landlady, but they can't land a single knife throw.
唔好意思，你覺得點啊？
冇埋你啊！
10 points straight up. Then we get this absurdist comedy scene of them chasing like they're in a Looney Tunes cartoon. I like this little detail here of him using the knife that's sticking out of his shoulder as a mirror. Give this movie another 7 points. Kung Fu Hustle keeps the action varied, which is a great quality to have in your Kung Fu movie. It's the one thing that's always put me off of Bruce Lee movies and others like it. I just imagine getting bored of seeing endless punches and repetitive kicks. Yeah, sure, they might look cool, they might be extremely technically difficult punches and kicks to land, but I just hate repetition like that. Now that might be unfair as I haven't actually seen these movies. Maybe I'll give them a chance one day and see for sure. But all I know is that in Kung Fu Hustle, each fight brings a new gimmick to the table. The fight I like the most is these two creepy looking musicians who use the power of their music to summon swords and shit. I was going to award another 10 points, but then after doing some research, I found out most of these fights were inspired from older Kung Fu movies and novels. So I was a little bummed out if I'm being honest, because I thought these were original ideas. Still executed well, of course, but it's going to get less points. It's going to get 8 points now. I really like the final assassin that the gang recruit to deal with the Pigsty Alley people. He looks like your average sweaty slob, but then he reveals his power animal to be a toad. It's so grotesque looking, and it really creeps me out to think about a human toad frog hybrid thing. This horrid creepiness adds a layer of intimidation to his character. I only wish the movie gave him some more toad-like abilities, like a disgustingly long tongue or something. That would have been an awesome element to add to the fight. So with this Toad Man and this end fight, I'm scoring a solid 8 points, which gives us a total of 49 points. So there we have it. Kung Pow has 44 points, Kung Fu Hustle has 49, meaning Kung Fu Hustle is the better movie to watch while hungover, or suffering immensely like I am with the flu. To Kung Pow's credit though, I would definitely choose it over Kung Fu Hustle if the scenario was having some friends over and having a good time with some beer and pizza. So maybe keep that in mind when making your choice. Alright then, I'm going to go roll down a hill now into a ditch somewhere and get some rest. I'll see you soon, buddies. Maybe watch this video right here and say something nice to me. Come on, make me feel better.